Let's get ready to rumble!
Straight to the editor's letter. Tris Dixon informs us that the British and Commonwealth champion, Mr. Fury, the hungriest heavyweight this side of the fucking hemisphere, is willing to take on the toughest contenders that the world can throw at him. So, get ready for this one, man. Get ready for this one. Fury is willing to step up and take on the deadliest force that he could possibly face. So, if I could please get a drum roll. Fury is facing Vinny Madelon. This Tyson Fury. No, his name ain't Tyson. This guy Fury is some kind of joke thing. I'm not lying, man. Last time out, he took on Martin Rogan. Wow. You know what I mean? If he was facing a Vinny or Guido out of one of them Italian flicks.
Relax, will you, for crying out? What's got into you? I'm breaking your balls a little bit, that's all. I'm only kidding with you.
That would be more competitive than this. You know what I mean? BoxRec rank Vinny Madelon at 102 in the world. And we have to ask, should our British and Commonwealth champion really be taking on competition ranked that low? You know? Tris Dixon goes on to say, well, if the British Board of Control are going to ban Franz Botha like they did last year from facing Fury, how can they possibly tell us that Madelon is a suitable opponent for a man who holds the British and Commonwealth crown? What's the difference? This guy's becoming a joke. And I know the heavyweight division is not filled with glittering prospects, but he could have found a much tougher fight than this one. Even someone like Chaz Witherspoon would have been a more suitable fight than this. Mr. Mick Hennessy, this is not acceptable for a British champion, for a Commonwealth champion. This is not acceptable. Channel 5, you are running the risk of keeping boxing, professional boxing, from off terrestrial television forever. He's had one decent fight since he's been on Channel 5. That was against Chisora. Right? And if anyone thinks I'm going too hard, yeah, I want you to name me one of the opponents he's faced since he fought Chisora. Just name them off the top of your head. Apart from Martin Rogan, who I said already. Go on, name one of them. Can't do it. Can you? This guy's a proper waste man. Then we have the guest column. This week we have John Scully, who was at Canastota, New York, for the International Boxing Hall of Fame. Scully tells us that this is an event that you do not want to miss. And on the night, he met fighters like Donnie Lalonde. He met former middleweight and light heavyweight champion Reggie Johnson, a boxing trainer by the name of Ham Johnson, who is the father of Mark Johnson, who was inducted in 2002. Other stars who were there, Marvin Hagler, Sugar Ray Leonard, Sugar Ray Seals, Jerry Cooney, Aaron Pryor, Terry Norris, Tommy Hearns, Ray Mercer, Kevin Kelly, Michael Mora, and Scully rounds off his column by saying, this is the closest thing to heaven on earth. On the panel this week, we have Austin Trout, the WBA light middleweight champion. We have Craig McEwen, who is a middleweight contender. We have Eddie Chambers, heavyweight contender, and Darren Barker, a middleweight contender. The question this week is Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. ready for Sergio Martinez? Austin Trout says, after his performance against Andy Lee, I think he's ready. He says that recently he's looking very beast-like and he's starting to fight like his old man. Craig McEwen says He's got a lot of fights under his belt now, so I think he's experienced enough to challenge Martinez. But until he actually faces Martinez in the ring, you'll never know. Eddie Chambers says he made a good case last week against Lee, and that he's more than worthy of facing Martinez. Darren Barker says he's had a lot of fights now, and he's a world champion, and he's ready to take on the best. I believe he's ready. Over the last year, he's improved massively. Boxing Beats and Rhymes says, yeah, he looks like one of the strongest middleweights right now, you know, and I've always thought that Martinez is a little overrated, so whether homeboy is juiced up or not, he's definitely ready for it. He's definitely ready. And I don't believe that Martinez has improved that much as people are saying from the stoppage defeat against Margarito. Again, a Mexican fighter who was very good at fighting inside. Now, it's a toss-up in my opinion. Who's better in their prime out of Margarito and Chavez Jr.? You know? It's a toss-up. A lot of the shit Martinez does in the ring is pretty amateurish. Darren Barker exposed a lot of the amateur shit he does in the ring. Yeah? So to me, it's a 50-50 fight. The next question they're posed is, who would win out of Matthew Macklin and Andy Lee? Austin Trout says, before the Chavez loss, he would have gone with Lee, but now he's going to have to go with Macklin. McEwen says Andy Lee, he's the better boxer. And even though Lee has a tendency to slug when he shouldn't, he thinks he's still got enough skill to outbox Macklin for the win. Eddie Chambers also goes for Andy Lee. He does the little things really well. He has the ability to become a world champion. Chambers thinks that Lee would get the better of an encounter if it ever materialized. Darren Barker says it would be a good fight. I think Lee would win because he has something to prove, and that Lee could probably cope easier with Macklin's style than he could with Chavez Jr. Boxing Beats and Rhymes is going to say Matthew Macklin. Now he's being trained by Buddy McGirt, you know? The letters and tweets still haven't moved away from the Tim Bradley-Pacquiao fight. Jamie Ingleby, Joe Whittle, and Derek Craig all think it was a controversial and an outrageous decision. While Olu Rotimi from Kenya, he scored the fight 115 to 113 in Tim Bradley's favor. On the tweets, Steve Bunce, he says if Sergio Martinez did what Chavez did to Andy Lee, we'd be screaming how brilliant he was. Randall Monroe says he'll be back after his clash with Scott Quigg ended in a no contest. Eddie Chambers says hometown decision, blind judges, something I can't control. Thanks for sticking with me. I'll be back. That's after his, in my opinion, robbery against Thomas Adamic last week. The Reader's poll has Sergio Martinez 61% to Chavez Jr.'s 39% in favor of a Sergio Martinez victory. You can join the poll at www.boxingnewsonline.net or on Facebook, which is facebook.com/boxingnewsonline. You can offer your opinion. John Yates, he says apart from Martinez that Chavez Jr. is the next best middleweight. Barry Rand says, nope, it will be like Froch versus Butte. Martinez is going to blast Chavez Jr. away. Jordan Key, he says it doesn't matter if he's ready. What does he have that Macklin, Williams, or Barker couldn't throw at Martinez? Chris Delaney, he says he's as ready as he'll ever be. I think Martinez will win on points, but it might be closer than what everyone thinks. The 10 count this week is entitled Cruiserweights. Matt Christie wonders how the current batch of cruiserweights compare with the best of all time. So no surprises, we have number 1, Evander Holyfield. Holyfield ripped through the division in the 1980s with such ferocity. It took a long time for the class to recover. A grueling win against Dwight Muhammad Cowie was exhilarating, while destructions of Ricky Parkey, Henry Tillman, and Carlos de Leon were emphatic. Well, Holyfield is the greatest cruiserweight ever. But let me just say, I'm still not sure if he won that first fight against Cowie. I'm still not sure. That fight is one of the dreadiest fights you will ever witness in a boxing ring. Cowie pushed the young Holyfield so hard, Holyfield was taken to hospital. He started burning muscle and shit. That fight was just like, whoa. No joke. At number 2, they have Carlos de Leon, a cruiserweight pioneer. The Puerto Rican won the first WBC title from Marvin Camel in 1980. 9 years on, he won his 4th title when he beat Sammy Reason in London. James Toney, number 3. After losing to Drake Thadze in a lackluster 1997 showing, Toney never lost a fight at cruiserweight before entering the land of the giants in 2003. When in the mood, he was one of the most watchable talents of recent years. Wow, I'm surprised they didn't mention the contest that he had with, was it Jirov, the Russian guy, for a vacant crown at cruiserweight? That was a classic fight, but they didn't mention it. At number 4, we have David Haye. The Londoner was able to bounce back from an early loss to Carl Thompson in 2004. Had he not chose to move up to heavyweight, he would more than likely still be champion. Number 5, Marco Huck. The German has made significant improvements since the 2007 loss to Steve Cunningham, losing just one of 17 high-profile bouts, which was against Alexander Povetkin. At number 8, we have Juan Carlos Gomez, as naturally gifted as anyone else on the list. The Cuban was the former WBC champion, disposing of such competition like Marcelo Dominguez, Imamu Mayfield, and Jorge Castro, all defeated with relative ease. At number 7, we have Dwight Muhammad Cowie. Cowie was a better fighter at light heavyweight, but the Camden Buzzsaw of the mid-80s would be a handful for any cruiserweight in any era. He took the WBA title in the year 1985, and we can't forget his role in the greatest cruiserweight fight of all time against Evander Holyfield. At number 8, we have Johnny Nelson. Prior to 14 successful defenses of the WBO title, Nelson beat the likes of Marcus Butt, Dennis Andrews, and Patrice Uisi. The Sheffield stylist is one of the best cruiserweights in history. Just don't watch his fights against James Waring and Carlos de Leon if you need further evidence. I tell you what, nobody's posted the fights against Carlos de Leon or James Waring. And when they do, Number 8, Al Cole, an excellent IBF champion who didn't lose his title in the ring, seems a curious choice. But don't forget the relative infancy of the division. When the heavyweight title was only 33 years old, Marvin Hart would have been jostling for position with the best of all time. That's very true. At number 10, we have Jean-Marc Mormec. The Frenchman was an excellent warrior. He held the WBC and WBA titles. He also holds a pair of victories over Virgil Hill. Well, all I really want to add to that is the super middleweight division is probably no more than 4 or 5 years older than the cruiserweight division. But if they was to do a top 10 super middleweight list, that shit would be star-studded. You know what I mean? So the cruiserweight thing has struggled, you know? It really has struggled. And if any fighter manages to displace Holyfield from being the best cruiserweight ever, all I can say is that guy has to be in the Hall of Fame. Automatically. I mean, let's think about it. When's the last time have you had a cruiserweight on the pound for pound list? Now we have the hit and the miss section. In the hit section at number 1, we have Chavez Jr., who is now making people sit up and take notice and take him seriously as a contender to Sergio Martinez. At number 2, we have Sergei Rabchenko, who stopped Ryan Rhodes in impressive style with a body shot to win the European title. At number 3, Victor Ortiz is soon to be in action for the first time this year, and if he wins, he secures a showdown with Saul Alvarez. At number 4, we have Will Rosinski. An important victory over Aaron Pryor has propelled the New York super middleweight into a possible big fight with Kelly Pavlik. At number 4, we have Richard Towers. The Sheffield heavyweight was fortunate not to be stopped by Frenchman Gregory Tony, only thanks to some shocking refereeing. They didn't mention the referee's name. I'll soon find that out though. Number 3, Nasser Al-Harbi took a chance by fighting in Italy and paid the price, losing a controversial decision. Number 2, Fury, because you know I can't call him Tyson. The heavyweight will not see a stock rise, not in the slightest, especially in the announcement that he is about to take on Vinny Maddalone. And at number 1, we have Scott Quigg versus Rendell Monroe. After long, hard training camps, this anticipated fight was cut short just as it was heating up, leaving everybody a little frustrated. David Price makes his professional American debut on July the 27th in Atlantic City. A possible opponent mentioned is Kirsten Manswell. The fight will be televised on ESPN. The WBA World Featherweight title bout between Celestino Calabero and Mikey Garcia has reportedly been cancelled. That's a shame, man. That's a shame. I was looking forward to that one. Undefeated super featherweight Gary Russell Jr. and Cuban light middleweight Erislandy Lara have been added to the undercard of Cornelius Bundrage's IBF light middleweight title defense against Corey Spinks in Indio, California. Gary Russell takes on Christopher Perez, who has a record of 23 wins and 2 losses, while Lara faces Freddie Hernandez, who is 30-2. It seems Kelly Pavlik wants to fight the world. He wants the winner out of Warden Dawson, which is not a good idea, Kelly. The last time you went to light heavyweight against Bernard Hopkins, it wasn't a good look. You know what I mean? It wasn't a good look. Or he's talking about Carl Froch, Lucien Boutte, and a list of other names. More alphabet belt confusion as unbeaten light welterweight Victor Postol will put his WBC Intercontinental silver belt on the line in his hometown of Kiev against Ivan Mendy from France. Floyd Mayweather has been told he will remain in prison after a request was rejected to serve the remainder of his sentence under house arrest. 13 days into his 87-day sentence, Melissa Zaragoza, who is the Justice of the Peace, she ruled that complaints about the boxer not having enough food or enough to drink were self-induced. Lawyers had hoped to secure a release of sorts for the 34-year-old after he complained of inhumane conditions that he claimed was caused by being confined to his cell for 23 hours a day. He is currently serving time in Nevada's Clark County Detention Center. Former WBO super featherweight champion Alex Arthur has been honored on the Queen's birthday list. He received the MBE. And former world middleweight champion Terry Downs, he received the British Empire Medal. Arthur received his MBE for his services to boxing and the Edinburgh community. He joins the likes of Joe Calzaghe and Ricky Hatton. Latif Coyote has told Gary Shaw that he has no intentions of facing fellow cruiserweight contender BJ Flores. He's looking for bigger fish to fry. And look, you see, you was lucky against Tarver. that he couldn't pull the trigger like he once could. Yeah? Because the more you call out advanced fighters and elite fighters, the quicker you're going to get hurt really badly. Because every time Tava threw that southpaw left with any intention, it cracked into his face, you know? And he never once looked capable of blocking it because he's imitating a boxer. When he's moving back, he probably thinks he's Roy Jones or Ali or someone he's studied on tape. But you know, before you try to imitate elite fighters, you have to ground yourself in the basics, yeah? I don't know what Freddie Roach is teaching you. He looked very novice-like, another fighter who doesn't need to call out bigger names than the level he's fighting is Ali Adams. No disrespect to Don Charles, but I think your rep is trading a little too much of Derek Chisora's solid chin and his heart and his stamina that he's able to put up credible performances against world-class opponents. But I'm not sure about Don Charles's coaching credentials quite yet. I really ain't. I suppose the David Haye fight will be a big acid test. I reckon if Latif or Ola Ofalobi, I hope I pronounced that right, yeah? It wouldn't go more than 6. It wouldn't go more than 6. I guarantee that. Wilfredo Vasquez Jr. takes on Rafael Marquez on August the 4th in Belmont, Puerto Rico. And now we have more alphabet belt confusion as WBO light middleweight champion Zaborek Byzangurov, and you should actually give me some props for attempting to say his name out. He has 27 wins, 1 defeat. He takes on Lucas Konechny, who is the interim ruler. Now, one day, all you major belt organizations are going to have to make some videos and break down to us how you have the WBO light middleweight champion, then you have the interim champion, then you have the Intercontinental Battlestar Galactica champion. You're going to have to make some videos and break it down, how it works, how you justify and how you conclude that all these boxers are going to have these belts. Shannon Briggs returns to the ring in 2013 in Dubai. He's traveling out there to start training soon. Michael Katsidis takes on Dali Perez, and the bout will be televised by ESPN2. Nonito Donaire is talking up his fight with Jeffrey Mathebula. That will take place at Carson's Home Depot Center on July the 7th. He's talking about how Victor Conte encouraged him to take the VADA program, drug testing and all that good shit. And yes, he's talking smack about Guillermo Rigondeaux, saying how he's boring to watch, how he didn't watch his fight. But yo, the guy is the WBA champion, yeah? And despite what you're saying, the common people in boxing and the so-called experts, most of us think that Rigondeaux is a bloody good fighter, yeah? So you talking him down will not excuse you out of ducking him, out of any possible fights, in our opinions. So don't even try that. Don't even try that. Al Malcolm, a former Midlands area heavyweight champion from Britain, is suffering from spondylosis, a spinal condition. He will undergo an operation this week that will hopefully improve his condition. Al Malcolm was the opponent Lennox Lewis faced on his professional debut, way back in 1989. Herbie Hyde, the former WBO heavyweight champion, who is now 40 years of age, is training with Jonathan Thaxton, and he's looking to return to the game and fight the likes of Enzo Macronelli or Shane McPhilbin. Andy Lee, in the aftermath from his fight with Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., says, "My punches had no effect on him. I couldn't hold him off. A lot of the punches I threw would have hurt a lot of people, but he just walked through them. He's a big middleweight." Bryant Jennings apparently didn't look too impressive in outpointing Steve Collins over 10 rounds. Craig Watson returned to the ring under Rendell Monroe Scott Quigbill. I remember him losing on his last outing by stoppage, I think, so he's returned to his winning ways against Thomas Mazurkowitz. Damn, crunching down these long names today, baby. Both men hit the deck in the fight, and the third round seemed like it was a barnstormer by all accounts. Victor Ortiz is tipped to win over 12 rounds against Jose Cito Lopez. That's a boxing news prediction, not me. I'm not sure who's going to win that. I've never seen that guy fight. So, Chris Ariolo takes on the fearsome Michael Mullo. Isn't Mullo the guy who knocked out Kevin McBride just after Kevin McBride took Tyson out? We go to the flashback page, and it's this week in 1974, where we have Joe Frazier and Jerry Quarry gracing the cover after Joe stopped Jerry in 5 rounds at Madison Square Garden. The fight made our front page with the heading Frazier's Fury. We reported that the ex-world champion Frazier, showing the power and brute strength of his heyday, smashed his way back into world title contention. Joe had halted Quarry on cuts in 7 rounds back in 1969, since when he had beaten Muhammad Ali in the fight of the century, and he lost his crown to George Foreman subsequently. But Frazier handed out a terrific beating from round 2 onwards, flooring Quarry with a vicious left hook to the body, and at the end of the 4th round, cutting him over both eyes before the referee stepped in at 1 minute 37 of the 5th round. Now, I don't care what people say that, oh, boxing beats and rhymes, you like to draw boxing into colours. Well, I mean, if you're going to dismiss colour out of the story and the history of mankind, it makes it kind of dull and not real. You know what I mean? And not to mention inaccurate. Where's the theatre in that? Let's keep it real. I just want to say, Jerry Quarry, in my opinion, is the greatest white heavyweight of all time, better than Rocky Marciano and better than Jack Dempsey, yeah? He beat Ron Lyle, he beat Ernie Shavers, he beat Floyd Patterson, he came over to England and beat up Brian London, he knocked out British heavyweight champion Jack Bowdell in 1 round, yeah? He snapped the unbeaten KO run of Mac Foster, you know? He was the first one to beat him in 6 rounds, you know? He didn't have the luxury that the Klitschko brothers have of feasting on weak top 10s from about 4 different governing bodies, you know? He didn't have the luxuries that Dempsey, Tunney, and the rest of them have of not defending against black contenders. And then you have to factor in the era that he was fighting in, arguably the toughest generation of heavyweights ever, the 60s and the 70s.
It's a no-brainer.
So we're going to wrap this one up now with the top 50 power list for 2012. At number 50, we have Thomas Hauser, who is an author/HBO consultant. 68 years of age, he lives in New York. At number 49, we have Nonito Donet, the WBO Super Bantamweight champion. 29 years of age, lives in San Leandro, California. At number 48, we have Gary Shaw, the president and CEO of Gary Shaw Productions. 67 years of age, he lives in New Jersey. At number 47, we have Larry Merchant, HBO commentator. 81 years of age, Larry lives in New York. At number 46, we have Emmanuel Stewart, 70 years of age, trainer, manager, and broadcaster. He lives in Detroit, Michigan. At 45, we have Ahiko Honda. He is a representative director of Taken Promotions. 65 years of age, he lives in Tokyo. At number 44, we have Max Kellerman, who is a broadcaster. 39 years of age, he lives in Los Angeles. At number 43, Barney Francis, the managing director of Sky Sports. Age 41, he lives in London. At number 42, we have Yvon Michel, who is the president manager of Groupe Yvon Michel. His age is not mentioned. He lives in Montreal. At number 41, we have Muhammad Ali, legend. Age 70, he lives in Louisville, Kentucky. At number 40, we have Kathy Duva, CEO Main Events. Kathy's age is not stated here. She lives in Bloomfield, New Jersey. At 39, we have Francisco Paco Valsaca, who is the WBO president. 62 years of age, he lives in Puerto Rico. At number 38, we have Dan Rafael, an ESPN journalist, age 41, lives in Fairfax Station in Virginia. At number 37, we have Jim Lampley, HBO presenter, 63 years of age. He lives in San Diego, California. At number 36, we have Keith Kaiser. Keith is an executive director of the Nevada State Athletic Commission. 46 years of age, he lives in Las Vegas. At number 35, we have Dan Beckerman, Chief Operating and Financial Officer for AEG, 42 years of age. His place of residence is not disclosed. At number 34, we have Teddy Atlas, ESPN analyst and trainer, 55 years of age. He lives in Staten Island, New York. At number 33, we have Richard Stern, who is the president of MGM Grand Entertainment and Sports Incorporated. His age is not disclosed. He lives in Las Vegas. At number 32, we have Dan Goosen, the founder of Goosen and Tutor. His age is not disclosed. He lives in California. At number 31, we have Don King, who controls Don King Promotions. 80 years of age. He lives in Florida. At number 30, we have Darryl Peoples, the IBF president. 45 years of age, he lives in New Jersey. At number 29, we have Amir Khan, a light welterweight contender. 25 years of age, he lives in Bolton, in the UK. At number 27, we have Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., the WBC middleweight champion. 26 years of age, he lives in Culiacan, Mexico. Tied with Chavez for the 27th spot is Saul Alvarez, the WBC light middleweight champion. 21 years of age, he lives in Huanacatlán, Mexico. At number 26, we have Bernard Hopkins, who is a president of Golden Boy East and a boxer. 47 years of age, he lives in Philadelphia. At number 25, we have Miguel Cotto, who is a top light middleweight contender and promoter. 33 years of age, he lives in Puerto Rico. At number 24, we have Doug Laurie, Director of Programming at ESPN. His age is not disclosed. He lives in Connecticut. At 23, we have Fernando Beltran, age 51. He is a promoter from Mexico, and that's where he resides too. At 22, we have promoter Lou DiBella, 52 years of age. He lives in New York City. At 21, we have Freddie Roach, a boxing trainer, 52 years of age. He lives in Los Angeles. At 20, we have Cameron Duncan, who is a manager, 55 years of age. He lives in Las Vegas. At 19, we have Kalle Sorland, the boxing promoter who controls Sorland Event, age 34. He lives in Germany. At number 18, we have Bern Bent, who is a manager, 56 years of age. He lives in Hamburg in Germany. At number 17, we have Kerry Davis, Senior Vice President for Sports Programming at HBO. 53 years of age. He lives in New York City. At number 16, we have Eddie Hearn, Managing Director of Matchroom Boxing. 33 years of age. He lives in Brentwood in London. At number 15, we have Frank Warren. He's a boxing promoter, 60 years of age. He lives in Hertfordshire in the UK. Number 14, we have Mark Taffet, HBO Senior Vice President for Sports Operations and Pay-Per-View. 55 years of age. He lives in New York. At number 13, we have Oscar De La Hoya, co-owner of Golden Boy Promotions, 39 years of age. He resides in Los Angeles and Puerto Rico. They've eliminated the 12th spot, so we have a joint 11th, which is Vladimir and Vitaly Klitschko. Vladimir is 36, Vitaly is 40. They live in Kiev in the Ukraine. At number 10, we have Gilberto Mendoza, the president of the WBA, 69 years of age. He lives in Panama City. At number 9, we have Todd Dubois, who is 44 years of age and lives in Las Vegas. At number 8, we have Jose Suleiman, who is the president of the WBC. He is 81 years of age and lives in Mexico City. At number 7, we have Steven Espinoza. He is the head of Showtime, 42 years of age and lives in New York. At number 6, we have Al Heyman, who is a manager. He is 56 years of age and lives in Los Angeles. At number 5, we have Manny Pacquiao, a Filipino superstar, 33 years of age. He lives in General Santos City in the Philippines. At number 4, we have Richard Schaefer, who is the Golden Boy CEO. Richard is 51 years of age and lives in Los Angeles. At number 3, we have Bob Arum, who runs Top Rank, 80 years of age and lives in Las Vegas. At number 2, we have Ken Hirschman, HBO's director of boxing. He's 48 years of age and lives in New York. Now, who is controlling the prestigious number 1 spot? Drum roll, please.
And still undefeated, Floyd Money Mayweather.